If you think about your life on a graph, a simple 2D line graph, and consider like one thing is where on the graph are you? So what absolute point does your life represent? And you could apply this to basically any metric like your net worth, your health, your physical capability, your relationships, whatever it might be. But the idea I want to introduce today is instead of focusing on the absolute point of the graph, which is usually where we compare ourselves to others and where we feel either superior or inferior, things like, what is my salary? Or, things that are easy to compare, numerical, or how good is my car? How big is my house? And so on. I would encourage you instead to look at the trajectory of the graph. So try to get multiple points and see the rate of change and see if you can improve that. This works for multiple reasons. One of them is it's much easier to affect the trajectory than it is to affect the absolute point. Like going from 10,000 to 100,000 overnight is pretty hard, but you could negotiate a higher salary or look for another job, and that would raise the trajectory of your net worth earnings. The other reason is because trajectory is going to be more meaningful over the long term. And another way to think about this is if you care about the trajectory but not the absolute point, then you could start off at a much lower starting point than someone else. But with a greater trajectory, you would overtake them eventually. And this is one of the reasons why, learning to learn is so important. Things like reasoning, philosophy, logic, work ethic, the ability to spend more time on a task. All of these things will serve you much better than simply being gifted or talented. You'll often find that gifted or talented people, if they don't work hard at improving those skills, get overtaken by people who do learn to do that. So ultimately, the question is where's your focus and how can you improve the trajectory? And this also helps you be less hard on yourself because when you're really harsh on yourself, it doesn't help your progress. And it's easy to be hard on yourself when you're looking at the absolute point because there's always someone who is somewhere else on that graph higher than you. But when you look at the trajectory, it's much easier to be encouraging, and that ends up having more positive results for yourself. So, yeah, that's the idea today, trajectory over absolute point on the graph.